Senator. Let me make some announcements first. The City Disincorporation Bill AB 781 is a time-set agenda that will be at 11 o'clock. The following bills have been withdrawn from today's agenda. Number 2, SB 358, Senator Cannella. Number 4, a really fine bill by Senator Wolk, SB 893. It was a perfect bill, but actually not everybody's perfect. So I thought it would be a wise idea to work on it for 2 years. And I'd like to thank the author for her reasonableness and her civility in agreeing to do that. We have the following items on also withdrawn. 11, AB 253, Assemblymember Smythe. And we have 4 bills on the consent agenda. 8, AB 188, AB 946, item 21, item 28, 1266, and 31, 1369. Senator Runner, you're on.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Item 3, 640.
I'd say and members too, but you're the only one here, so appreciate that.
We are starting as a subcommittee,
yes,
obviously.
Thank you. Senate Bill 640 provides a tax credit for up to $6,000 to small businesses for hiring a person off of state unemployment rolls. This bill is appropriate given the current economic situation, the climate here, and the state unemployment rate of being nearly 12%. I'd really like to thank the chair and the committee staff who have worked very hard with this measure, and I will take the technical amendments that are noted in the analysis. I'd ask for your aye vote.
All right. Are there witnesses in support? Are there witnesses in opposition? Hearing none, there are obviously no questions from the committee. The recommendation is do pass as amended. You will accept the technical, and we will, as soon as we get a committee, we'll move a quorum.
Appreciate that, Senator
Wolk. Thanks. All right. Calling authors. What is he at?
AB 242 is his first. 242, first page for Committee on Revenue.
Got it. Where is it? Where is it?
Back to us.
Welcome. We have an Assembly Member Perea, Chair of Rev and Tax. Come forward, please. We've been waiting for an author. We're so glad to see you. You have, first, the Assembly Rev and Tax Bill, which is AB 242, item number 10. Please begin.
Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity to present Assembly Bill 242. This bill is authored by the Assembly Committee on Revenue and Taxation. This bill implements various technical and non-controversial tax proposals sponsored by the State Board of Equalization. AB 242 also conforms California's income tax laws to several tax-related provisions of the recent federal health care acts. It is important to note that AB 242 is not a health care reform bill, but rather a tax conformity bill that would enable taxpayers to easily comply with federally mandated health care laws enacted in March of 2010. Specifically, this bill would, among other things, increase the amount of qualified adoption expenses excludable from an employee's gross income, exclude from income health care benefits provided to a member of an Indian tribe, and federal grants for qualifying therapeutic discovery project, and lastly, allow tax-free treatment for the National Health Service Corps loan repayment and forgiveness programs. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right. Are there witnesses in support? Another conformity bill.
We're doing lots
We
of
love those.
Good morning, Jennifer Tannehill with Aaron Reed and Associates. On behalf of the California Society of Enrolled Agents, we support AB 1423 and specifically for the tax conformity nature of the bill. Thank you.
Okay, I think you're 1423.
She meant 242, I'm sure.
242 she meant. Okay.
Hi. Gina Rodriguez with California Taxpayers Association. With respect to the income tax provisions, 242 would not only simplify the preparation of California income tax returns, but also would ease the administrative burden on tax agencies. The Franchise Tax Board, in their 2010 Bill of Rights report to the legislature, stated that for the last 2 years they've raised concerns about how the lack of conformity to the federal law increases complexity for the taxpayer, and this leads to low taxpayer self-compliance and greater costs of administering and enforcing tax laws. You know, and with respect to, I want to pick out one provision, the employer-provided adoption assistance. This particular provision, interestingly, is a W-2 provision. It affects how an employer prepares a W-2, and oftentimes they don't know there is a difference between state and federal law. So you will get an employer actually following federal law when they prepare the W-2 and won't recognize there's a state-federal difference. We call this default conformity because they're unaware that there's a state-federal difference. And sometimes we see the revenue somewhat skewed because they don't take into account this type of non-compliance. But for those reasons, we do support 242. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Further witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Seeing none, questions from the committee? Doug, we're on item 242, item number 10, committee bill. All right. Hearing none, as soon as we have a quorum, we'll move the motion, which is do pass. There are no amendments. Would you like to close?
Just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right. Assembly member, you have two other bills. Item number 32, AB 1423. There are some technical amendments.
Yes, Madam Chair and Senator, thank you. Again, this is another tax conformity bill. Last December, Congress unanimously passed the Regulated Investment Company Modernization Act to change obsolete and inefficient provisions of federal income law applicable to mutual fund companies. As the chairman of the Assembly Revenue and Taxation Committee, I decided to author AB 1423 in order to conform California's income tax law to the RIC Modernization Act. AB 1423 is good tax policy. It is also important to all the affected stakeholders, including the 5.9 million California shareholders in California-based mutual funds who often depend on these funds for their savings, the 24 mutual fund companies located in California, which represent a major source of high-paying jobs and significant tax revenue to the state, and the state itself, will, without conformity, incur significant costs and administrate a mutual fund tax regime that does not conform to federal tax law. Some of the changes in federal law, which AB 1423 would mirror, include allowing mutual funds to carry over capital losses indefinitely, just like individual investors can, pay a penalty rather than lose their status as a mutual fund for minor inadvertent infractions, and defer late year losses to the next taxable year. Although the FTB estimated that this bill will decrease tax revenues, this decrease is very slight for a conformity bill and is likely smaller than the additional administrative costs for the FTB if the state does not conform to the RIC Modernization Act. The complexity and confusion that would result from the lack of conformity to federal law is both certain and significant. If we do not act now, California-based mutual funds and millions of California families will have to face two sets of rules for income taxes at the federal and state level, which are inconsistent, creating confusion and inefficiencies that will be difficult and expensive to overcome. AB 1423 is needed to reconcile these inconsistencies, to keep California mutual funds competitive with other states, and to streamline tax laws for California companies and families. Now, allow me to introduce one of the witnesses who will testify in support of our bill, Kathy Herron. She is the Senior Vice President from the Capital Research and Management Company, an affiliate of the Capital Group of companies, the largest mutual fund company in California and one of the largest investment management firms in the nation.
And there are some technical amendments you've already agreed to take.
Yes, we agreed to take the technical amendments.
Good. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Kathy Herron. As you've already been told, I'm here on behalf of the 24 California-based mutual fund companies, and I urge this committee to support this measure that would conform California's tax provisions relating to mutual funds to the federal tax law that relates to mutual funds. Mutual funds offer average households access to professional investment management of their savings for retirement, college, and other purposes. Approximately 5 million California households own at least one mutual fund, and Californians invest over $1 trillion of their savings in mutual funds. California-based mutual fund companies employ some 15,000 employees here in the state in high-wage professional jobs. California mutual fund management companies pay more than $100 million each year in California income taxes. This bill is critically important to both the dozens of mutual funds companies based in the state and to investors here in California in those California-based funds. It's also important to the Franchise Tax Board. The following severe adverse consequences can be expected to affect three different stakeholders. Those are the California-based mutual funds, their management companies, the investors in those funds, and the Franchise Tax Board. The discrepancies from federal tax law would force investors to separately track their basis in their investments for state tax purposes. They would not be able to rely on the federal computation of basis to determine California gain or loss, and this would lead to a substantial increase in investors' tax return preparation cost and could be prohibitively expensive for average shareholders. On top of that, investors could lose the tax benefits that otherwise flow through them to a mutual fund if these provisions are not enacted. California-based mutual fund companies, in the worst-case scenario, could lose their California tax status as regulated investment companies if the savings provisions from RIC disqualification are not adopted. This would eliminate their ability to pass through the mutual fund tax treatment to investors. In addition, fund companies would certainly face a major administrative burden if they were to separately track earnings and profits from investments for California and federal tax purpose. This separate tracking would require them to develop new accounting systems, implement new controls, train personnel, and communicate to the extent possible with their California investors. The Franchise Tax Board would also incur additional costs to issue guidance to investors, develop and furnish new tax instructions, and train personnel on the impact of a lack of conformity. Even if the conformity is later achieved, the Franchise Tax Board may have to process a glut of amended tax returns. Overall, the lack of conformity would make California-based mutual funds less attractive to investors. For these important reasons, we ask you to support this legislation. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to respond to any questions.
Thank you. Next witness.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Gina Rodriguez with California Taxpayers Association. CalTax has formed a coalition of more than a dozen organizations, including California-based mutual fund companies and tax practitioner organizations. We all strongly support 1423, a measure that would conform specified California tax provisions to the relevant provisions in the Federal RIC Modernization Act. Being a member of this committee, all of you, I guess just all one of you right now, may have come to realize that conformity bills generally don't have a broad-based constituency. They often contain pages and pages of references to federal law, along with carve-outs or exceptions. They are difficult to explain. They are sometimes very technical in nature. They include provisions that produce revenue increases that Republicans find hard to swallow and revenue decreases that leave a lump in Democrats' throats. And in our post-Proposition 26 era, conformity bills have now become even more difficult to work and time-consuming. Therefore, we thank Assemblymember Perea and his staff for carrying this bill and actually being this year's conformity champion, carrying not only 1423 but AB 242 and AB 36. All of which will align California's tax laws closer to federal tax laws. Senator Wolk held the title of conformity champion in years past, and we certainly appreciate all of her work and Colin, all the work that you and Gail have done to ensure that the omnibus bill passed in 2010.
Conforming champion.
Term of art I just came up with.
Unification bout soon?
11 o'clock last night, conformity champion came to mind. But so we have California tax laws now in line with federal tax laws as those federal tax laws read on January 1st, 2009, thanks to Senator Wolk's conformity bill. That's why we need to continue to work these piecemeal conformity bills. Assemblymember Perea has brought to this committee, and AB 1423 is one such piecemeal conformity bill. As Kathy stated, the burdens of nonconformity, nonconformity would not only fall on taxpayers and their investors in this case, but also on the Franchise Tax Board. And so for these reasons, we strongly support AB 1423 and ask for your support as well.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Me and my multiple personalities will, in order to fill out the dais, we'll look for the next witness here.
Mr. Chairman, Joanne Betancourt, representing the Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association, in strong support. We'd also like to thank the Assemblyman for carrying the bill. Thank you.
Jennifer Tannehill with Aaron Reed and Associates for the California Society of Enrolled Agents, also in support.
Mr. Chairman, hi. Joe Ackler on behalf of Charles Schwab Corporation and our 1 million mutual fund shareholders in California. We support the bill.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is John Lall. I am Treasurer and Chief Financial and Tax Accounting Officer for Dodge & Cox Investment Managers based in San Francisco, and I urge your support of AB 1423. Thank you.
Thank you. More witnesses?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Erin Norwood on behalf of the Pacific Life Insurance Company, also in support of the bill.
Good morning, Heather Heller on behalf of Franklin Templeton Investments, Senior Tax Manager there, based here in California. We urge you to support this bill as we do.
Thank you. Does the folks in charge of the sound, could we turn up the mics just a little bit here? Our witnesses, it's pretty quiet there. So, thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Rich Simpson. I'm a Director of Product Tax at BlackRock, and we urge your support of this bill.
Jennifer Burr on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce, and we also support the bill.
Jason Lane, California Bankers Association, also in support.
Thank you, sound folks. That's good. Okay. All right. Is there folks in opposition? Good job. Okay. So would you like to close for now?
Just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay. Thank you. As you see, we'll still need more members here in order to make a motion and take care of the bill. So we have next, I think AB 1424, which is item number 33. Would you like to introduce that?
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, this is my last bill to present before you today. AB 1420.
We'll hold applause on that, okay?
What's that?
We'll make sure nobody applauds that. No, you're doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you. AB 1424 is designed to increase the collection of delinquent taxpayer debt in California. Annually, $6.5 billion of taxes owed to the state of California go unpaid. Every year, the State Franchise Tax Board compiles and publishes a list of the top 250 taxpayers whose delinquent income tax liability exceeds $100,000. As of June 30th, 2011, those 250 delinquent taxpayers owed more than $173 million to the state, with income tax debts ranging from $300,000 to over $14 million. AB 1424 will give the Franchise Tax Board the proper tools to go after these 250 debtors in order to collect their long overdue debts. Specifically, AB 1424 would do all of the following. It would allow a state governmental licensing entity to suspend or refuse to issue a professional, business, or driver's license if a licensee's name is included on the top 250 debtors list. The suspension will be lifted if the taxpayer enters into a payment plan with the FTB. It would prohibit any state agency from entering into a contract for goods and services with the tax debtor on the top 250 tax debtor list. It would authorize the FTB to enter into reciprocal agreements with the IRS and other states, which would allow other states' taxing agencies to collect from California debtors that have moved their assets outside of California. Currently, 20 debtors on the top 250 debtors list have assets out of the state. Lastly, it would require the FTB to update and improve the top 250 list by adding the names of company presidents and corporate officers for business entities appearing on the list. It is estimated by the FTB that if AB 1424 were enacted, the state would collect over $120 million in the next 5 years. Most Californians pay their taxes. To allow the top 250 delinquent debtors to avoid paying their fair share, especially when they have the financial means to do so, places an unjust burden on those who do. This bill takes the necessary steps to hold the top 250 debtors accountable and recover the substantial amount of money owed to California. I accept the amendments proposed by the committee to do two things. One, include the BOE's top 250 delinquent taxpayers list, and two, expand both the FTB and BOE list from 250 to 500 taxpayers. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Witnesses in support? Welcome.
Lenny Goldberg on behalf of the California Tax Reform Association. I think the IRS collections, the interstate collections are really important parts of a collection process. The debtor question, the suspension of licenses. We've done this for child support for many, many, many years, and it's been very successful. When people say, oh, you're taking away the livelihood of somebody who's supporting their children, rather than that, they're paying their child support. Very successful collection program. We have supported the expansion of that program to all tax debtors who have been, and these are Mike Eng bills in the past years, all those tax debtors who are really adjudicated tax avoiders. We're not talking about people who have not been given every opportunity to pay. That said, this bill is much more limited than those provisions. This really speaks to the very, very largest debtors, and the notion is, as has happened in child support, they will pay, they will work out something with the state. The argument that somehow people are giving up their livelihood has proved to be erroneous in child support. It's been very important to them, has been very successful, and with these very large debtors, this will be successful too.
Witnesses in support.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and members of the committee. Jessica Bartholow with Western Center on Law and Poverty. Over the past 3 years, California has cut over $15 billion from Health and Human Services. Just this last Friday, on July 1st, families in California, our very lowest income families in California, have had to figure out how to pay their rent with 8% less income. That's the lowest that it's been in 20 years. These were decisions that the legislature had to make, and made with very painfully. Making the decision to collect from 250 of our worst tax debtors, the ones who owe the money that you already have laws in place to collect, it shouldn't be a hard vote to make. Like as I said before, we are in austere times. These are dollars that are out there that could help us make ends meet in California, and we urge your aye vote. Thank you.
All right. Further witnesses in support? Come on down.
Welcome. Jamie Kahn here on behalf of the Associated General Contractors, and we're actually in betweener right now. We've been working with the author on amendments, and we're very close to getting those taken care of. And with those amendments, we would support the bill.
All right. Further witnesses in support?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Park Terry on behalf of the California Landscape Contractors Association. We have similar concerns to AGC. We have a letter opposed unless amended and submitted to the committee. Our concern is very unique to the unique situations that apply to the construction industry and the Contractor State License Board, which already has existing authority to suspend licenses for non-payment of tax obligations. So we're working with the author, and I think we'll be able to maybe even move to a support position if we can deal with those issues. Thank you.
All right. Witnesses in support or witnesses in opposition? See somebody coming forward?
Christopher Carlisle at the California Association of Realtors in opposition to the bill. This bill would suspend the professional license of individuals, thus preventing them to have the income necessary to actually pay those taxes. That just is simply counterintuitive. In addition, you're taking away the ability of that individual to feed, clothe, and house themselves as well as their family. We met with the author last week, and he was unable to provide any information with regard to that this bill would actually increase collections. It's just an allegation on the part of the Franchise Tax Board at this point. Finally, there's no nexus between the alleged wrongdoing and the suspension of the license. This is akin to taking away somebody's driver's license because they're behind on their taxes. We believe that there should be a nexus between the wrongdoing and the suspension of the license, and as such, we would ask for your no vote on this bill.
All right. Further witnesses in opposition? All right. Questions from the committee? All right. Hearing none, we do not have a quorum. We are in committee, so why don't you close, and we will have, there will be, do pass as amended to appropriations will be the motion when we.
Great. Just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Assemblymember. All right. Assemblymember Hall, you're next. Thank you. It's smart to be here early when nobody's here.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I'm going to ask that file AB 233 be put over.
Oh.
And I would like to present file item 12, AB 720.
All right. So item 9, AB 233 is put over.
Yes.
And we are now on AB 720, item 17. Yes. Present.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members, I would like to begin by accepting the suggested amendments in comment 2 on page 3 of the analysis as author amendments. AB 720 will authorize a county voluntarily complying with the Uniform Public Construction Code Accounting Act and the relevant provisions of the Public Contracts Code to take advantage of road construction flexibility options for county roads and highways. AB 720 will ensure that local governments are fulfilling the spirit of the letter of the law when it comes to making public investments in our local roads and meeting our shared obligation to make the most of limited public funds for improvements to local road infrastructure. In working with the counties to address their concerns, I would add that we have, in fact, submitted a letter to the Journal pending review by the Speaker and the Minority Leader to express the intent of the bill. I respectfully ask for your aye vote. And here to testify in support, I have Mr. Jose Mejia from California Council of Laborers and Eddie Bernanke of Political Group.
Okay. I would just like to say, to begin with, AB 720 was a bill that began with some controversy.
Yes.
And I would like to congratulate the author and those who, the sponsors and those who are stakeholders, for working closely together and for resolving the differences.
Thank you.
That's the way it ought to work. And I really appreciate that. And
Thank you.
Assemblymember Hall, I'm disappointed that you want to hold 9, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work on 9 as it remains off the agenda. We'll try and resolve our differences.
Thank you.
All right. Witnesses in support.
Madam Chair, members, Jose Mejia, California State Council of Laborers. I certainly appreciate the chair's remarks because obviously she was engaged with the previous version that we had last session, I believe it was. And we certainly appreciate your efforts. But specifically with Assemblymember Hall, certainly appreciate where we've gone at this point. As was said earlier, I think that lots should be said for all those that came to the table, and we discussed everything, and I think we came to a good bill, and this is where we're at today, so we ask for your aye vote.
All right, in support.
Madam Chair, members, Eddie Bernanke on behalf of the Construction Industry Force Account Council. This bill, as amended in Senator Desaulnier's committee 2 weeks ago, truly represents a compromise measure between all the parties, public employee unions, private sector unions, contractors, counties, to come together on an issue that had much consternation. The bill now provides that contractors will be able be afforded the opportunity to bid on large county road construction projects while ensuring that counties also have the ability and flexibility they need to maintain those county road systems and do whatever emergency work that's needed. And for those reasons, we'd ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
All right. I didn't give credit to my colleague, Senator Desaulnier. I'm glad you did. Didn't realize that. In support.
We did it together.
Good job.
Madam Chair, Dave Ackerman, representing the Associated General Contractors. We were the original sponsor of the Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Act way back when. That was before I even represented them in the legislative process. This bill furthers the objectives of that act, works out the agreement with the cities and counties, which we think is the right way to go, and will still allow appropriate work to be put out to bid to the private sector as it should be. And we ask for your support. Thank you.
In support?
Madam Chair, Todd Bloomstein, on behalf of the Southern California Contractors Association. As mentioned, this will give the construction industry the opportunity to bid on these projects where prices are 30 to 40% below what the engineers' estimates are. It's a great opportunity. On balance, this is a great bill. Ask for your aye vote.
Witnesses in support.
Madam Chair, Phil Vermeulen, representing the engineering contractors, Marin Builders Association, Flasher Barricade, and the fence contractors. You've heard it all. It's a great bill, and this is good public policy, and we'd urge your aye vote. Thank you.
Further support.
Members of the committee, Kevin Pedrati, representing the Engineering and Utility Contractors Association and the Golden State Builders Exchanges, and we are in support of the bill as well.
Madam Chair, members, Brett Barrow with the California Landscape and Irrigation Council, representing union contractors throughout Southern California, and we are in strong support of the bill. Thank you.
In support.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Deanne Baker, representing the California State Association of Counties. We're here to officially remove our opposition to the bill and express our appreciation for the author and the sponsor's willingness to work with us. And we think we have been able to strike a compromise that will work. And we certainly appreciate the letter of intent as well, so we can move forward and work with the State Controller's Office in cleaning up how we report force account work. Thank you very much.
In support.
Jelena Voice with the Urban Counties Caucus, also removing our opposition, and would agree with Ms. Baker's comments regarding the letter of intent, and we very appreciate much the amendments. Thank you.
Okay, further support. Opposition? Wonderful. We like that. All right. Further questions from the committee? Senator Desaulnier.
I just want to commend the author.
Thank you.
And all the people who worked on it. And since I came in late on the other item, number 9, I hope we continue to work with this. I want to apologize for you for not talking to you, but it's a two-way street. So my interest in that regard is, and I don't mean to equivocate, I think we're all on the same page.
Senator, I don't want to debate the issue. I think we're dealing with file item 12 right now.
I understand that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying here.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I hope that we keep working together.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Madam Chair, I thank you for your support of file item 12.
Further questions or comments? All right, we do not have a quorum. We need one more member. I predict this will pass.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right,
Thank
you have a, yes, you did.
Thank you.
Accept the amendments. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, do we have another author? Any in the hall? Let me make those announcements again, the housekeeping announcements. First of all, at 11 o'clock, we will have a special order of business, and that will be the City Disincorporation Bill 781. The following bills have been removed from the agenda. Senator Cannella, Senator Wolk, 893, Assemblymember Hall, item 9, Assemblymember Smythe, 253, item 11. And then we have a consent calendar with 4 items, which is 8, 21, 28, and 31. And as soon as we get one more member, we will, or an author, we will proceed.
we have an author. Would you please step forward and... Are
Thank
you
you,
taking up
Senator.
item number 20?
Yes.
Okay.
AB 936.
Okay. Assemblyman Hoyso, take it away on AB 936.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to begin by offering authors' amendments that correct the drafting error that we had in adding some of the amendments. There was an inadvertent error, and I have some copies here that I'd like to present to you that correct that error. Apparently, in the notifications, usually redevelopment agencies don't forgive loans of cities. It's the cities that forgive loans of agencies, and that's what this whole purpose of this legislation is, to require public notice if a city does intend to forgive a debt that is approved by a redevelopment agency. The bill would also place the same requirement on the redevelopment agency if it were to forgive the debt owed by a public body. This resolution must specify that the public body's name, the amount of forgiveness, the terms of the loan, advance or indebtedness, and the fiscal effect of the forgiveness, and the date on which the agency intends to act on the forgiveness be disclosed to the public. It's a very, very simple disclosure bill that would require a certain level of noticing prior to an action taking place so that members of the public know that there is a significant financial decision being made at the local level. And I'm available for questions, and I respectfully request your support for this bill.
Okay, Assemblyman, sorry we don't have more of us here in committee today, and we'll ask for any of your witnesses you have in support here. Is anybody out there in support? Okay, any opposition? All right, well, we'll if you'd like to close on the bill here, we will take it up a little bit later when we have quorum and a motion for your bill as amended.
Right. This bill has not seen any opposition thus far, and it's just simply a disclosure process, and I hope I can count on your support to move it forward.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Busy day today, so good luck for us today. Thank you. Mr. Gordon here. Okay. 23 and one other. Okay, Assemblyman Gordon, please come on up. We have item 23 and 23 AB 1053, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. All right, take it away.
Yes. Despite generally deregulating county fees 25 years ago, state law still sets a large number of fees for the local county governments. These include civil fees, county recorder fees, and fees charged by commissioners. It's been decades since some of the statutory limits for these fees have been updated. AB 1053 would address a couple of these fees which have not been updated in order to keep up with actual costs. Specifically, this bill would adjust the amount counties can charge for birth and death records and court-appointed counsel registration for juveniles. It is critical that this legislature regularly revisit these fees. As the cost of doing business rises, any fees that have been set by statute may be frozen and not actually reflect the true cost of doing business. And as we place increased burdens on our local government partners, it makes it all the more imperative that we find a way to help them recover their costs. I will be taking a technical amendment to resolve an issue that was identified by committee staff, and I would respectfully request an aye vote.
Okay. Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Elizabeth Howard Espinosa on behalf of the California State Association of Counties, the sponsor of the bill. We do view the bill as a modest extension to SB 676 of Senator Wolk of a few years back. I will introduce Leslie Morgan of Shasta County, who is available to answer technical questions on the birth and death vital record fee increase, should any questions exist. we ask you for your support and your aye vote on the bill. Thank you.
Welcome, a very special witness from one of my home counties. Welcome down.
Hi. At least I have a friendly face. Leslie Morgan, Shasta County Assessor Recorder. I'm the Legislative Chair for the County Recorders Association of California. And I would point out that typically we are in opposition to fee as part of our platform, fee increases as a whole. However, this bill focuses on the cost of doing business, and the increase is supportive in order for us to do our business on a day-to-day basis without those costs being put back onto the general fund. So that is why we chose to support this bill.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Others?
Juliana Vorsh of the Urban Counties Caucus, also in support of this bill. Thank you.
Leslie McFadden on behalf of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors, also in strong support. Thank you.
Michael Radigan on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, Santa Clara County, here in support.
Okay, thank you.
Kathy Christian, Contra Costa Board of Supervisors, in support.
I'm sorry, would you say where you're from?
Kathy Christian, Contra Costa County
Contra Costa,
Board of Supervisors.
Karen Lang on behalf of the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors, in support.
Steve Wallach on behalf of the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, in support.
Steve Cruz for the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors, in support.
Thank you. Any others in support? Okay, how about those in opposition? You've got a clean slate there, so okay. We have another member of the committee here. Are you ready for questions? Okay. All right. Well, as you see, we're still trying to gather members here, so would you like to close on your bill?
Just simply, again, this is allow our county partners to recover costs of doing business, and we respectfully ask for an aye vote. And thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Again, when we have quorum, we will take up the bill, and you'll find a result. So thanks for presenting today. Okay, so we have Assemblyman Solorio here. So you have item number 5. Please come forward. On 5, and then 5, and then. Okay.
Thank you, Senators. Appreciate your time this morning. This bill takes some moderate steps to protect drinking water quality for Californians served by smaller public water systems, especially those known as mutual water companies. As your committee analysis suggests, this bill brings mutual water companies into the 21st century of politically accountability, managerial transparency, and water quality. It levels the playing field between private mutual water companies and public agencies. I came upon this issue in my own city of Santa Ana, where we had a neighborhood that had a mutual water company with very high levels of nitrates. Their system had denigrated over the years. There wasn't the capacity to make the investments, to have the oversight to address those water quality issues. I then worked with our State Department of Public Health and realized that although they had certain grants to help with situations like that, that process took a long time. There was then the need for things like what we do in transportation. We have letters of no prejudice where agencies might be able to advance their own local dollars to move projects along. Unclear whether at the state level for water projects we could do something like that, so this bill does that. But also it just addresses issues to level the playing field so that these mutual water companies have some of the same regulations as public water agencies. So with that, I do ask for your aye vote.
Okay, thank you. We have a witness in support.
Casey Elliott on behalf of the City of Santa Ana. As Mr. Solorio indicated, we believe this measure would help us invest local dollars to help improve the water quality of our residents in a more expeditious fashion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Any others in support? Okay. All right.
Jordan Gomez, Planning and Conservation League, in support.
Okay, thank you. Before we go, okay, go ahead.
James McDonald with the California Special Districts Association, in support.
Okay, thank you. Before we go to opposition, do you plan to accept the amendments?
Yes, I do accept the amendments as presented in the committee analysis. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And is there anybody in opposition? to AB 54. Okay. Questions from the panel, the growing panel we have here today?
Move the bill.
Okay. We haven't achieved quorum yet, but we'll put you down.
That's a nice thought, Senator. It's a nice
thought. Put you
thought.
at the top of the list for the motion. Yeah. Steel trap here, right? So, well, looks like you got a great bill. Not only does it bring it into the 21st century, but you're leveling the playing field.
Correct.
Two big things in one bill. So it's.
But, water quality is important for public agencies, private agencies, as well as privates that are mutual water companies that have been really under the radar. But it's time to bring them into the 21st century as well. Thank you.
Very good. I think you'll do quite well in committee here. So when we achieve quorum, we will take it up and let you know.
Thank you, Senators.
Okay. All right. Okay. We have you down as Assemblyman Allen for item 22. So please come forward.
With item 22, is that Bill 1036?
Correct, AB 1036,
Okay.
item 22.
Well, good morning, committee members. I'll keep it brief. 1036 seeks to clarify an outdated provision of the Public Resources Code. I have worked with the opposition, and the Sergeant at Arms right now is passing out the amendments, which we are accepting, which we believe removes all opposition. And essentially, this is just a clarification of the Public Resources Code to remove a conflict with other statutes that have been passed over the years. So I urge an aye vote. And I do have witnesses here in support. I have Michelle Castro of the Service Employees International Union, as well as employees of the Sonoma Agricultural Preservation and Open Space District in support of 1036.
Okay.
Michelle Castro, the Service Employees International Union. As Mr. Allen said, the bill simply removes an outdated statute that presents some conflicts with existing law. We ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Stuart Martin, Land Acquisition Specialist with Sonoma County Agricultural Preservation and Open Space District for the last 15 years. We've been negotiating a contract since early 2010, and unfortunately we reached impasse, and because management has taken the position that the enabling legislation means that we are at-will employees and that they cannot agree on a contract language that is used with every other Sonoma County and special district employee and many other special districts and county employees throughout the state of California. We're asking you to pass this legislation and remove this barrier so that labor and management can sit down and negotiate in good faith and reach agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Others in support, please.
Ken Tam. I work for Sonoma County Regional Parks Department and also currently serving as the county's industry chair for SEIU 10-1, and we also are in support of AB 1036. Thank you.
Thank you. In support?
Leslie Liu. To provide protection for open space district staff, I want to register my support for AB 1036. Thank you.
Thank you. Others in support? Okay. All right. Those in opposition, please come forward.
I'm Maris Peach.
And a little closer to the mic, please.
I'm Maris Peach, and I support this bill.
Oh, one more support. Okay, thank you. Now in opposition.
Mr. Chairman, members, Ralph Heim for the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District. With the amendment that Mr. Allen is offering, we are withdrawing our opposition, and we greatly appreciate his consideration of that amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Members of the committee, Paul Yoder on behalf of the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors, removing their opposition to Assemblyman Allen's bill.
Removing opposition, okay.
Removing, not moving, removing.
Removing.
It's a great day for me and the Assemblyman, so
okay.
thank you.
All right. Building that bridge, okay.
And lastly, Senators Doug Houston with the East Bay Regional Park District. We too are removing our opposition with the exception of the amendment. Thank you.
Very well. Okay, that's all in or former opposition? Okay. Questions from the members of the committee? Okay. Well, then you may close on the bill if you care to.
Well, I would just urge an aye vote, and I realize you don't have a full quorum yet for a vote. So anyway, I think
We're
it's
real close, though.
You're getting closer, yes.
Yeah. We can trap one more. Maybe we can get that big golden bear out in the hall to enforce the doorway here. But
And I do have another bill after we finish with this one. So,
Okay.
so I urge an aye vote, yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. All right.
Hello, Mr. Allen. Assembly member, item 27, I believe.
Yes, Madam Chair, we're dealing with AB 1195.
Yes.
Yeah, thank
Please
you.
begin.
Okay. AB 1195 would expand the parameters of the state's new jobs tax credit. The new jobs tax credit was established by SB 15 of the third extraordinary session in 2009, which allocated $400 million towards incentivizing job growth in California. To date, only about $50 million of the $400 million has been claimed. So what this bill does, AB 1195, it's a bipartisan bill that will expand the employee requirement to 50 or fewer employees and will allow for faster and more targeted utilization of the tax credit to help stimulate job growth in California. It is a bipartisan measure. It came off the Assembly floor with a 77-0 vote. I urge an aye vote. Thank you.
All right. Witnesses in support?
I don't think we have
Witnesses in opposition? All right. Questions from the committee?
Move the bill.
Do we have a quorum?
No, we don't.
No, we don't. Okay. I didn't know what happened while I was gone.
Keep trying.
Okay. All right. That will be due pass to appropriations when we
Thank you.
Have a quorum. Assembly member Fewer, welcome. There's an advantage to being here early. Yeah.
We've been stalking the
Okay, item
committee
number
to
30.
find the right moment here.
AB 1344. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'll be brief because this is a bill without opposition, support. So just very quickly, I want to begin by noting I will be taking the clarifying amendments that are mentioned in the analysis to correct a potential loophole and to define abuse of office in the bill so it can be more specific. This is a bill that got off the Assembly floor 78-0. As I said, it has no opposition. It's an attempt to respond to the issues relating to compensation practices in Bell and some recent investigations in other cities, including the city of Los Angeles, that reveal the potential for taxpayer funds to be improperly made available to folks who are involved in abuse of office. And I urge an aye vote.
Okay. Witnesses in support?
Yes, committee, thank you. I'm James Kreidler with California Common Cause, and AB 1344 is aimed at really restoring trust in local government, and that's why we are in support.
Okay, further witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? All right, seeing none, questions from the committee? Hearing none, when we have a quorum, we'll move the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair,
Right,
members of the committee. I appreciate it.
Would you like to close?
I would
Might as well.
support when the time is right. Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member. All right, we're looking for authors. The perpetual search for an author.
What was Mr. Feuer's item number? 30. Thank you.
We have a quorum. Would you take roll?
Walk.
Here.
Walk present. Huff. Desaulnier. Fuller. Fuller present. Hancock. Hernandez. Kehoe.
Aye. Here.
Kehoe present. LaMalfa. Here. LaMalfa present. Lou. Lou present. 5-0.
All right, we have a quorum. welcome, Assembly Member. You have item number 29. You have AB 1292.
That's correct. Good morning, Madam Chair and members. I would like to thank you and your staff for working with us, and I will be accepting the committee amendments as noted in the analysis. Today I present AB 1292, a bill that will vastly improve the state's drinking water and drinking water infrastructure by granting authority to the California Department of Public Health to sell revenue bonds in order to receive federal funding to invest in water infrastructure of the state. California will now receive roughly 2 times as much federal funding from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for safe drinking water state revolving fund, totaling more than $126 million per year. Given the lack of state resources, additional funds are needed to secure this match. Without these funds, our water infrastructure will continue to erode, as will the health and well-being of most Californians. This bill unanimously passed out of the Assembly and has no opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? In support. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. I am Leah Walker.
Pull the mic. Yeah.
Thank you. I am Chief of the Division of Drinking Water and Environmental Management in the Department of Public Health. I am here today to answer any questions that you have on the bill. And I have further information, but I will see if there are any questions on that. And with me here today, I have the branch chief over our funding programs, Mr. Kim Wilhelm. Thank you.
All right. Further witnesses in support, witnesses in opposition. All right. Questions from the committee? All right. The bill has been moved. Do pass as amended to appropriations. The amends are in front of us. Please call the roll.
Wolk.
Aye.
Wolk, aye. Huff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like to close before? I can't do that.
I thank you for the process that's taking place. I appreciate the support.
Please call the roll.
Wolk.
Aye.
Wolk, aye. Huff. Bisognier. Fuller. Fuller, aye. Hancock. Hernandez. Kehoe. Kehoe, aye. Lamalfa. Lamalfa, aye. Liu, aye.
5-0. That bill has enough votes to be out, but we'll leave the roll open for the absent members.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, I see Mr. Hueso, don't I? Yes? Perez. All right. Oh, Perez, I'm sorry. Yes, of course.
Hello, Senator.
My problem.
Once
All
again.
right. Yes, you and I are sitting.
Still.
Good morning.
Good morning, Senators.
All right. Item number 19, 894.
Madam Chair and members, first I'd like to accept the recommended amendments as follow. Number 1, a rigorous economic impact study. Number 2, the credit is only applicable for wages paid in California.
Oh, this is not correct. I'm sorry. I apologize.
What? No, 894?
It's the wrong note. Do you have your bullets? I apologize.
Hang tight.
Wait.
Sorry,
Come
Senator.
Time out.
Okay, these are the amendments?
These are the correct ones.
Okay. I'm sorry, Senator. Fine. Why don't we start all over? Let me just say that I accept the amendments. 1, set a maximum leverage ratio of 5-to-1 for the loan guarantee program. 2, reinforce the firewall between the loan guarantee accounts and the general fund. And 3, require CIDFAC to have sufficient expertise on staff or under contract to adequately complete risk assessments for applicants seeking loans, loan guarantees, and lines of credit. AB 894 establishes the framework for a program to assist California manufacturers by offering direct loans as well as guarantees on loans and lines of credit. The purpose of the program is to serve as a deal closer, to support the retooling and expansion of California's manufacturing facilities, resulting in the retention and creation of jobs. We all know that manufacturing plays a crucial role in the California economy, contributing over $179 billion to the state's overall GDP, offering some of the highest wages for workers, as well as supporting millions of small and mid-sized companies through their supply chains. While the economic benefits of manufacturing are clear, California manufacturing faces many challenges in remaining globally competitive. Since 2001, California has lost over 633,000 manufacturing jobs. At the national level, the President has put forth a manufacturing strategy and has followed it up with increased funding in key science and technology programs, including a $130 million initiative for clean energy innovation hubs. AB 894 would set up the framework for applying for and implementing these types of federal program funds. If ERA serves as any sort of a model for federal funds, states may have as little as 6 weeks to put together a nationally competitive application. Without a clear game plan, California could lose out to other states in accessing these key federal dollars. This bill is sponsored by the California Labor Federation and supported as well by the California Manufacturing and Technology Association. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right, thank you. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Questions from the committee? All right, do pass as amended would be the motion. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, it has been moved. Would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right, please call the roll.
Wolk.
Aye.
Wolk, aye. Huff. Bisognier. Fuller. Hancock. Hernandez. Kehoe. Aye. Kehoe, aye. LaMalfa. LaMalfa, aye. Liu. Aye. Liu, aye.
4-0. That bill needs 5 to merge from the committee, but we'll leave it open for the absent members.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. And Mr. Blumenfield, I guess you're next. Yes, you are. You're the only member. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here.
We have a customer, number 37.
Okay, item number 26. 1090.
1090. Okay, Madam Speaker, members, here on behalf of AB 1090, it's called the Senior Citizens and Disabled Citizens Property Tax Postponement Program. For more than 30 years, this program has helped low-income California residents remain in their homes by postponing their property taxes. Relying on annual general fund support, the program was suspended indefinitely in 2009 because of our budget cuts. And that left over 2,500 needy Californians fearful and vulnerable to foreclosure, eviction, potential victimization, and scam artists. Under the program, the state paid a participant's property tax to the county and placed a lien on the property. The property taxes were repaid with interest when the person's property was sold or transferred. The program was extremely successful, protecting many of our most vulnerable citizens and bringing revenue to the state. Over the last 15 years, the state has made over $41 million in revenue on this program. And more importantly, many seniors were kept in their homes that otherwise would have been on the street. One past participant in the program, Ms. Barbara Kaufman, 75, lives in the San Fernando Valley, my area, Studio City. She's lived there for 25 years. She owes $6,000 a year in property taxes, yet relies on Social Security as her sole income. After paying her $1,100 mortgage, little is left for food, utilities, and medical expenses. For seniors like Ms. Kaufman, the property tax postponement program was a lifeline, allowing them to stay in their homes and lead a dignified life. Many former program participants can afford the monthly mortgage payment, but they don't have sufficient income for their property taxes. Without this program, banks have begun establishing impound accounts to collect overdue property taxes, and homeowners that are unable to pay the additional amount of the impound account are being pushed into foreclosure. What this bill does is it recreates the Senior and Disabled Citizen Property Tax Postponement Program at no state cost, but as a county opt-in program. The bill also tightens eligibility requirements, allows counties to recoup administrative costs via an application fee, authorizes the county tax collectors to forgive property tax delinquencies prior to February 2011, and helps participants avoid foreclosure resulting from property tax non-payment. It's a very serious issue. I've had a lot of seniors call my office, some just in utter despair, threatening suicide if they're being kicked out of their home. It's been a very emotional issue, but this is a way that we can help counties help these seniors if they so choose, and I ask for your aye vote.
All right, witnesses in support.
Michael Richard with AARP. First of all, we want to thank the Assembly member for carrying this bill. We've gotten many calls as well. It's a very important bill for older Californians and the disabled to remain in their homes. It is a county opt-in. We'd ask for a yes vote.
All right, in support.
Christopher Carlisle with California Association of Realtors in support of the bill. Individuals on fixed and limited incomes, such as seniors and disabled, need to have a program to which they can turn for assistance with paying their property taxes that will allow them to stay in their homes. We ask for your aye vote.
In support.
Karen Lang on behalf of the California Association of County Treasurers and Tax Collectors. We are supportive with concerns. Our only concern is with the judgment lien over the super priority lien that your staff pointed out in comment 4. The treasurer tax collectors do need a priority lien in order to have a secure investment. And we understand the tough spot that the author's office is in because the banks oppose that, but that's our one concern at the local level. The 58 treasurer tax collectors are aware of the bill, but they feel that the most secure investment for them is the super priority lien, and they do need that. They are enthusiastic supporters of the program generally and have sent begging and pleading letters. Thank you.
All right, in support.
Lauren Rolfe, senior legislator, and California Senior Legislature is in strong support.
Okay. Further support? Opposition? Seeing none? Questions from the committee? Yes. Senator
Madam
Kehoe.
Chair, Mr. Blumenfeld, in the analysis, there's the comment about your other bill, and it says that it resuscitates the property tax program, that local treasurers are reluctant to participate in the bill's program without the superior lien, the priority lien, and that you have there's a $10 million cap in there. Are the bills in conflict or not?
And just to be clear, you're referring to the budget trailer bill that is in this year's budget that
AB 34 in the first extraordinary session?
Yeah, that recreates the state program. There's a couple of points to this. One, that the recreated state program is on a much smaller scale, so this would supplement that. Secondly, we're still hopeful that the governor will sign it. He has not yet signed or vetoed that trailer bill, so that is a pending on his desk bill. So this program could either be in my hope is that this program will be a supplement to, because this program is more challenging because we don't have the super lien option in. And I've always held all along, we're adding in a super lien. The counties have always had that lien possibility. They're allowed to collect taxes. But this has been a controversial issue, and with the creation of the state program, we thought we could have this local program as well to capture a lot of the folks who may not get captured in the state program. The state program is more narrow than it was before. It's capped at a $10 million level.
Would property owners be eligible for both?
Well, you can't have your taxes postponed twice. You have your taxes, so they can only be postponed by one
All right,
entity.
so if they're in the state program, when they reach the $10 million, no one else would be able to participate.
And at that point, the counties could opt in and step in and help them should they so choose. And the other issue about the super lien issue is that the one thing to note is when the state program was running, we never had a super lien. The state didn't have that option. The default rate was only 1.38%, incredibly low default rate when you're holding real estate paper. That's a pretty good investment in terms of just from a financial perspective. So the counties, I think, they have a double interest. One, they have the interest because if these people get kicked out of their home, they end up on the county dole in some way because of the county is responsible for those services. But also, from a financial perspective, even without the super lien, although personally I'd love for them to have that super lien, but without that super lien, the default rate has traditionally been so low that I think they will still look at it and say this is a pretty good investment for both financial reasons and for the fact that we are otherwise preventing these seniors from ending up on the county dole.
Thank you. I'll move the bill.
All right, the bill has been moved. Further questions from the committee? Would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right, the motion is due pass. Please call the roll.
Wolk.
Aye.
Wolk, aye. Huff. DeSaulnier. Fuller. Hancock. Hernandez. Aye. Hernandez, aye. Kehoe.
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. LaMalfa. LaMalfa, aye. Liu. Liu, aye.
You have 5-0. That's sufficient votes to emerge from the committee. We'll leave the roll open for the absent members.
Thank you very much.
Assemblymember Fuentes, the production begins. Which one would you like to do first, Assemblymember? Shall we do the 152 and get that? Do that first?
Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. That's item number 6 in our packet. Yes. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, let me begin by agreeing to the committee's suggested amendment regarding specific reporting requirements for this measure. I will work with your committee staff to finalize language, as there might be conflict with the IRS rules regarding who can estimate the value of a donation. Today, nearly 7 million, or 20% of Californians, report that they're unable to afford food that they need for their families. This is a particular need among seniors and working parents whose budgets for food are squeezed by the economic downturn. With so many people in need, food banks across the state are seeing an unprecedented increase in requests. This bill has 3 primary components that addresses the challenges faced by thousands of families in California. First, it allows contributions from the state or federal government to our state emergency food assistance program for the purchase of California-grown and produced food. Second, it provides a tax credit to California farmers for the cost of fresh fruits and vegetables donated to California food banks. And lastly, it removes unnecessary administrative barriers for the state's Department of Public Health to implement obesity prevention programs at the state level. This bill is a win-win, in my opinion, for California families who need food and California growers of that food. Today with me, I have Sue Sigler, Executive Director with the California Food Bank Association, and Donald Bransford, member of the California State Board of Food and Agriculture, testifying in support of the measure.
All right, in support.
Good morning, and thank you. California Association of Food Banks is a membership organization representing food banks from every part of the state and with a mission to create a well-nourished California. I'm here on behalf of California Food Banks to ask for your support for AB 152, which will help provide low-income Californians with greater access to fresh and healthy food. Firstly, as the Assembly member mentioned, the bill will create a state emergency food assistance program which would allow California food banks to purchase and distribute a greater number of healthy food items to low-income Californians. I want to stress that funding for such a program is not requested at this time, but its creation will ensure that at a future time when state, federal, or other types of funds become available, there is already a program in place so that food can be distributed rapidly and efficiently. Excuse me. In support of the bill, I would offer that 38 other states already have state emergency food programs, and these programs are important because they help to fill the unmet need left by the Emergency Food Assistance Program, or TFAP, which can be unpredictable in both the amount and variety of food offered. Spikes and dips in the amount of food available through TFAP are inevitable and can make this program difficult for food banks to administer. A state program would provide the ability to supplement TFAP when other supplies are low and create better predictability and stability in addition to supplementing the overall amount and variety of food. Secondly, the bill would create a tax credit for California growers who donate fresh produce to food banks. The tax credit will create a win-win-win for farmers, food insecure people, and the state by allowing food banks to use a nominal state investment to leverage the donation of large quantities of fresh produce to California food banks for distribution to people in need. The tax incentive produces maximum value for each state dollar because it would leverage 15 to 20 pounds of fresh and healthy fruits and vegetables for every dollar the state invests. This nominal investment will allow growers to cover some of the costs associated with handling the product, and therefore they are more able to donate their unused product, which might otherwise be tilled under or dumped. Oftentimes it is only a matter of...
I'll ask you to sum up.
This is all happening in a context where food banks in the last couple of years have seen a 30 to 50% increase in demand for services, where they have been coping with trying to meet those needs by providing more people with less food. So where you, in many cases where you used to go to a food bank and you might get a bag with 12 or 15 items, now you get 6 or 8 because we have to spread that around farther. We have 1 in 5 children in California who don't get enough to eat, and we have 2 of the largest metropolitan metropolitan areas in the state with food insecurity rates of over a quarter of their population. What we're asking for in this bill is very nominal. I'm sure you've seen the cost analysis, but it would relieve a great deal of suffering, and it would be an investment in our future as we build the health of our population to ensure that we don't have to pay for those costs in poor health later on. Thank you.
Thank you. In support of the bill. Further support.
Yes, thank you. I'm Don Bransford. I grow rice, almonds, and prunes in Colusa, California, just north of here, about 60 miles. I'm here to ask for your support for AB 152, which will help struggling families gain greater access to fresh and healthy food grown by California growers like me. Growers want to do their part to assist low-income Californians in accessing their products, but this can often be more of a challenge than you might think. The fluctuating prices of food, combined with the cost of labor, storage, and shipping, create tight operating margins that often make it difficult to donate our product. As you know, AB 152 would increase access to healthy California-grown foods to less fortunate Californians by investing a tax credit for the California growers who donate healthy foods like fresh fruits and vegetables to California food banks. And the State Emergency Food Assistance Program will allow food banks to purchase California-grown food from growers like me. The 10% tax credit would go to California growers for the cost of fresh fruits and vegetables donated to California food banks. This tax incentive will allow growers to use a minimal state investment to cover some operating costs and therefore donate significant amounts of fresh produce to California food banks. I believe the tax credit will make it easier for growers to donate their product to California food banks and get into the hands of those who need it most. And I believe the tax credit will provide enough investment to convince new growers to donate and change the minds of growers who have not been able to donate in the past. And just let me be clear that this isn't a boon for growers, and we're not asking for a handout from the state. This is a small investment that will allow growers the ability to cover some costs and therefore be able to donate their product for food banks and get into the hands of people who need it most. The State Food and Ag Board has taken a position of support for this legislation, and we've actually worked very closely with Sue to increase the access for the food banks to healthy foods. And one of the big issues is it's a high margin or it's a highly expensive business, and oftentimes it's cheaper to leave the food in the field and not harvest it. And so with some incentives, and these are small incentives, growers might avail themselves of the opportunity. Also, some of this fresh produce goes for animal feed, and again, a grower is getting a small margin to cover his costs, and with this type of tax incentive would help. So we urge you to support this legislation.
Okay, further support?
Madam Chair, may I ask a question of that speaker?
Yes, Senator.
Just on addressing the agricultural issues, there was the committee analysis mentions a bill passed by Senator Kelly in 1989 that allows a tax credit for donations of ag products. So are growers not already able to avail themselves of the tax credit?
I'm going to have to let someone answer that one.
It's my understanding that that's sunsetted.
It has, according to staff.
It has sunsetted?
Yeah, but I don't know when.
Like all good tax credits, there was a limitation on it.
Like all good tax credits, yes, that's right. Like yours.
Very good. Thank you. That answers that question.
All right. Witnesses in, pardon? All right. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Seeing none, any further questions? All right. It's been moved.
Just a comment. I love the policy merits, but we'll have to look at it and approach through the fiscal lens, as you understand. I see some costs there. But it's the food banks do so much in the communities. We understand.
Okay, the motion is due pass as amended to appropriations. Please call the roll.
Walt.
Aye.
Wolk, aye. Huff. Desaulnier. Fuller. Hancock. Hernandez. Hernandez, aye. Kehoe.
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Lamalfa. Lamalfa, aye. Lou. Lou, aye.
5-0. That's enough to merge from the committee, but we'll leave it open for the absent members. We're on to item 24, which is AB 1069, the film credit.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair, Senators. AB 1069 extends the California Film and Television Tax Credit Program, which was enacted in 2009 as part of a targeted effort to create jobs while increasing production spending and tax revenues for California for 5 years through fiscal year 2018-2019. The existing program provides tax credits to eligible film and television productions that meet the program's criteria. The program specifically targets productions that are most likely to leave the state due to incentives being offered in other states and countries. This program is due to expire in the fiscal year 2013-2014 and is essential that it be extended during this session of the legislature so that we send the proper market signals to the industry and give them the certainty that they need to ensure the maintenance of this very important industry in California. The last credits will be allocated by July 2012. By any measure, the program so far has been a tremendous success and should be extended. In fact, just last week, the Los Angeles Economic Development Corporation released a study on the economic impact of the first $200 million of tax credits allocated. LAEDC, the Los Angeles Economic Development Corporation, found that more than 20,000 jobs were created and retained because of the tax credit program, and that this program has generated more than $3.8 billion in economic output. This program has attracted its target group of productions, basic cable TV series, mid-sized feature films, and television movies, to stay here by enabling California to be competitive and to keep many of those at-risk films in the state of California. Since the study was undertaken, another $200 million in tax credits has been committed. This has resulted in an additional $2.2 billion in direct production spending in the state. $728 million of that amount was spent on wages for an estimated 25,700 below-the-line jobs. That would be crew and about 6,100 cast members, not the sort of star names that we normally see, but below-the-line crew. Additionally, approximately 172,000 individuals are also estimated to have received daily employment as background extras. It's important to understand what a good investment this is for the state. We've generated tens of thousands of jobs and billions in economic activity, and the first of the tax credits still haven't been redeemed. This is not a giveaway to a production up front, but a post-production tax credit offered only after a thorough review that a film or television show actually created jobs and filmed here in California. And this is a review that takes place years afterwards. So I would say that there's an additional bang for your buck here for California when you think of the monetization and the discounting of that tax credit that has yet to be redeemed, although it's been issued several years behind us. Finally, in probably the greatest testament to the program's success, every year has been oversubscribed, which means that more productions applied for the credit than credits were available. Today, we know that over 40 U.S. states and many cities and even countries offer substantial financial incentives for this very important industry to migrate to their locations. And we know that California has been losing, but for this program, and we must mention and thank then Assemblymember Paul Krikorian for its first passage, we know that California is where film industry wants to be. We've heard that it doesn't make financial sense at times for these productions to stay in California. And what we're doing with this bill is retaining and creating jobs by leveling the playing field and making California competitive in this vital industry. The entertainment industry is one of the signature industries here in California. We can't imagine that New York would let their signature industry, the financial industry or Wall Street, leave. And I believe we can't afford to let our signature industry walk away from the Golden State. With the state's unemployment hovering around 12%, this incentive is essential. We need this incentive to help keep hundreds of thousands of Californians employed. Extending this program will prevent production companies from moving their projects, jobs, and spending out of California. We are aware of the technical amendments proposed by the Franchise Tax Board. We will be looking at those as well as other amendments in the Appropriations Committee should this measure make its way there. And today I have David Lancaster, president of Bold Films, and Tom Davis, who manages IATSE Local 80, here to testify in support. We also have many members of the labor community and film industry here to express their support for this measure. It enjoys broad support And we know that there are substantial issues that were raised in the analysis. I do want to thank you, Madam Chair, and your staff for the thorough analysis, which I think any program of this size deserves. We will be accepting all three of the concepts that were proposed in the analysis, and we can go through those in the analysis so I don't confuse anybody, because they're, I think, in numbered order. That would be the easiest way to do. But if it's a chair's pleasure, I'd like to have our witnesses present.
I would like to talk about the amends first. You've accepted, we do not have written language, but in appropriations, one amendment will allow only wages paid in California to qualify for the credit. I believe I see everybody shaking their head. That's in comment 5. And then we want to talk about an economic impact analysis or a financial analysis of the credit in the future. I think there's, yes, shaking of heads. All right. And then the third issue has to do with the mandatory versus elective single sales factor and whether or not the credit, if a company takes the single sales factor and therefore they must use mandatory in order to use the credit. They can have both, but mandatory is part of the deal.
Very good. We agree to talk about that concept if the bill were to move forward.
The bill is moving forward.
I do believe, though, that we need to have a larger conversation, and I know there's legislation that addresses that, so I'd hate to sort of wed that to the bill, but in understanding the concerns that the committee has, and should the bill move forward to appropriations, we will talk and discuss the concept and figure out if there's a way to include it in this measure.
Yes, and I understand that it's complex. In meetings yesterday, we talked about that, and your willingness to have that further discussion is important, and I appreciate that. So the first two, again, in appropriations, there will be 2 clear amendments that we've talked about, and then the third, we will continue our discussions with the intent to move that.
Just another degree of clarity, if we could.
Sure.
On this mandatory sales factor, we have the De Leon bill. That's I think it's a 2/3 vote, correct?
That's right.
Would putting this amends into this bill make it a 2/3?
No, I see staff saying no.
No, because this is a new credit. New credit. I see. So I would say then I would strongly recommend that we kind of firm up the idea of a mandatory sales factor here in this one, because the credit is a benefit, and the fate of the other bill is yet to be determined. And besides discussion, what else can you say this morning? Are your sponsors willing to take a mandatory sales factor?
Not at this moment. I would say that it's important, I think, to get the language correct here. And while I am not an expert on the legality of it, it's hard for me to understand how the single sales factor on the De Leon bill being a 2/3 measure doesn't affect that we'd have sort of a 41 vote threshold here. This is an extension. It's not a new program. It would be an extension. So I would want to talk to a legislative council to understand how adding that does not tickle a 2/3 threshold.
I think that's pretty clear. I think we'll be able to clear that up to your satisfaction if that is the only concern. But it sounds as if otherwise you're not uncomfortable with that.
Well, no, I would let my sponsors address that, because there are some complications in foreseeing the single sales factor that I think we would all benefit from bringing them up and having them have a conversation with us.
I think one's coming right now.
Yes, very good. So if it's okay with the chair, we'll go to that part and we'll have our witnesses wait.
Yeah. There's strong support for the credit.
Right.
But we also like the amendments.
I understand.
So let's.
Thank you. Melissa Patak with the Motion Picture Association of America. First of all, thank you very much for hearing the bill. We appreciate the sponsors, the author's leadership on the bill. Our concern is that introducing the single sales factor issue here complicates this. A production company is a small, limited liability, usually single-purpose company that would come into the California Film Commission to apply for the tax credit. How a corporation would then monetize it or file their own tax return would not be known to the entity that actually applies for the credit. And anything that would create uncertainty about the ability to monetize it down the road, and as the author explained, this is a multi-year process. If a production company comes in today, they're going to be starting to film in the next 180 days. Their filming could go into next year. The audit could take into the following year. They get that certificate, and then a company applies it. It could even be in a later year. So to know going in what the corporate taxing mechanism is would not be known. And so that uncertainty at the production company level will frankly discourage companies from availing themselves of this very useful and successful credit. And that would be our concern about linking these issues in this bill at this time. But we've talked with staff, and we said we would discuss this in the process going forward to appropriations. But I just wanted to answer your question about our concern.
That's helpful. It doesn't get us to an end product yet, but it gives us a point of discussion for this committee and for Probst and the author to see what can be done, if anything.
Yeah. All right. The financing, I understand the complexity, but I also know that for us and what we've been through, we need to make certain that every dollar is spent here in California. That's important. All right. So, witnesses in support, and thanks the author for accepting those amends. Witnesses in support.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is David Lancaster. I'm an independent film producer for the last 30 years, financing and producing my own films, and am now co-president of a company called Bold Films, which we produce 2 to 3 films a year. Some of the movies I've produced include Night Mother, the Pulitzer Prize-winning play that starred Anne Bancroft and Sissy Spacek and was Golden Globe nominated for Best Picture. Bobby, the film about the Bobby Kennedy assassination with Sharon Stone, Anthony Hopkins, and yes, Lindsay Lohan before she went into her orange jumpsuit phase. So, over the past 30 years, I've produced, as a necessity, films in 5 different countries, from South Africa, Germany, UK, Canada, Eastern Europe. All over the world, I've accessed subsidies, including sale-leasebacks in the UK, German-South African co-productions. I've shot South Africa for Los Angeles, for San Francisco. I've shot South Africa for, yes, Sacramento. So I certainly wish that I had been able to make those films here in California, because those are all films set in this state. Last year I produced a film called Drive. It stars Ryan Gosling, Carey Mulligan, and Albert Brooks. We were fortunate enough to get the tax credit here in California for that project, and we shot the film entirely in California, and we were fortunate enough to be invited in the main competition at the recent Cannes Film Festival, where we received the Best Director award at the end of the festival. And
congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're very, very excited. It comes out September 16th. I hope you all see it. And pay for it to see it, please.
I want to know if Brad Pitt was there. Never mind.
The margins in my business are extremely thin, and this is the necessity for us seeking subsidies. 7 out of 10 films are failures. I have to go where I can find incentives in order for us to be able to make films or continue to make films. During the course of making Drive, we hired over 150 crew members. I spent $3.8 million on payroll. We used over 200 vendors, all small businesses in the state of California. We spent over $13 million in the state of California. This year, I submitted 2 more film applications for the film tax credit. I got one of them for a comedy we're going to do in the 4th quarter. The other one, I'm on the wait list. There are over 150 projects on the wait list at this time, just to show you how much this program has become popular. These projects, that project specifically that I'm on the wait list now, I'm being courted actively by the state of Utah, by the state of New Mexico to bring that project there to access those film tax credits, and I will actively pursue that at this time. I would prefer to work in California where we can choose from the great actors, the great skilled crews, the facilities, the vendors all located here, and most importantly, the great locations and climate that California provides, which was the sole reason that the business was started here to begin with by all the great moguls who started the film business here. I really support this bill. I think there's logistically no better place in the world than California to shoot movies year-round. And I would urge the members in these harsh times to create jobs here, to create tax revenues for the state, and to support this for an additional 5 years. Thank you very much.
All right. Further support.
Good morning. My name is Tom Davis. I am the business manager of IATSE Local 80. Which is the local union that represents the grips, craft service, the divers, and the equipment warehouse workers in the motion picture and television industry. I'm joined by my colleagues from locals 44, 871, 800, 600, SAG, DGA, and in particular my brother from Sacramento, John Kelly, from local 50. I have been asked to extend my thanks and appreciation from the members, from the IATSE crew members of the production Body of Proof, which is a TV show that shot its first season in Rhode Island last year, but because of the tax credit program, has employed 152 members of our union on that production now in California. I have also been asked by the crew members of the TV show The Lying Game Lying Game is the name of the TV show. It's a 1-hour episodic drama that was to shoot in the city of Santa Clarita, but is now going to be shot in Austin, Texas. The key grip, who has been a longtime friend of mine, Stu Aberson, called me about 3 weeks ago to tell me that the show had been moved due to their failure to receive the tax credit, but also to get a little bit of advice. Stu has been a member of my local union for 35 years. Stu has been a friend of mine for 32. He was born in North Hollywood, grew up in North Hollywood, raised his kids in North Hollywood, and now has a home in Santa Clarita, which is just a couple miles north of North Hollywood. But he was told that if he wanted to retain his employment on this particular show and be up for the subsequent productions from the same company, that he'd be welcome to do so, but he would have to move to Texas, get a Texas driver's license, become a resident of the state of Texas, and then transfer his union membership from the local in which he currently belongs to the local in Austin, Texas. After a long conversation, he's still talking that over with his wife and the rest of his family. Which really gets me to the point that I want to make. I have been a member of my union since 1977. I spent 21 years as a grip. In the 21 years, I was able to raise a family, and I felt very secure in my career. Even though it's a project-to-project industry, we always knew that there'd be enough projects within the area to obtain the standard of living that we had become comfortable with, and that wasn't one of swimming pools and bagels. That was just your typical middle-class, lifestyle. My kids went to public school, right? We attended the local church, and all our cars were always 2 years old, right? So it was just a typical middle-class lifestyle. My local union was established in 1939. Since 1939, every single year, we saw a growth in membership. Some years were large, some years were small, but nonetheless, each and every year, we saw a growth in membership. Over the last couple of years, though, we saw this trend reverse. We are now seeing what was once a rarity to become the norm, and that is not only the decline of membership, but also the request of what we refer to as transfer cards. A union transfer card is when a member of one local union requests that their home local send a request to another local so that that member can be transferred into that other local. We are now averaging at least two a month in my local, and to understand that there are at least 15 production locals in Los Angeles, and then we have another 3 across the state. But on average, I get at least 2 per month requesting transfers to New Mexico, Massachusetts, Louisiana, and Georgia. Those are the primary, and we get a few others as well. Utah is sort of interesting because we just got one for there. But these are members who have made their living in the industry in the state of California. These are not just transplants who've decided to move on someplace else. These are longtime residents who've been here for generations. And because of the challenges that we face due to the competition from the other states deciding that it is profitable for them, for their taxpayers, and for their states to poach our jobs. I'll wrap it up. Thank you. But that is what is happening. So I'm here today to ask you for your favorable consideration of the bill. I understand the amendments. I'm going to leave that to smarter minds than I to work that out, except to say that my members are depending on this program to continue their livelihoods, and for that we thank you for your time. And if anybody's interested, I have copies of the cruise sheet from Body Approved, so you can actually put some names with the positions. There may be some positions you don't recognize, named like a grip, but there are actual names attached to that, and these are real people.
Okay. Thank you. There is strong support for this bill. Witnesses in support.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Angie Way on behalf of the California Labor Federation in support. Most of the time you'd see us on the other side of these tax credits. And in fact, the State Federation of Labor has sponsored and moved, with the help of this committee and under the leadership of this chair, a package of bills in year prior to bring more transparency and accountability to our tax credit programs. This tax credit embodies those types of transparency and accountability policies. It's capped, it's allocated, it's sunsetted, it's reviewed.